Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams. Thanks so much for listening to my podcast today. Super excited to be back with you to bring you another amazing, high-level, top-notch, world-class entrepreneur, expert, and or author on the show today so that you can see the secrets of success, man. You can see what's going on behind the curtain. And I am pumped up to bring you this show today, man. I'm bringing back on the podcast my good friend, Dana Derricks, the master of the Dream 100, the strategy that my company uses to grow our influence, to grow our impact, and grow our income out in the world. Connected with Dana a couple years ago, man, on some social media, some different things, stuff like that. Got his book and listened to it on the way to a mastermind, and it changed the way we market our company. Dana teaches an amazing strategy for growing your business called the Dream 100, a strategic, tactical, intentional, fast track to success that you can use to connect with people you never even thought would talk to you. And the goal is to provide value and build relationships so that you can surround yourself by great people, help other people, and reap the benefits of all that comes with. Dana came on the podcast a while back to tell everybody about the Dream 100, but he's got something new going on that I just had to tell everybody about. Now, I want to really stress this up front. I am not an affiliate of this product yet. I probably will be in the future. I am not an investor in Dana's company. I am an actual user. As soon as he launched this Dream 100 software a few weeks ago, we were one of the first people to sign up. And our team is using it for the Dream 100 strategy in our business, and it is blowing our minds. We have already made amazing connections faster than we ever could have before. And the potential for what this software could become and could be for entrepreneurs, for podcasters, for experts, for authors out there selling courses, selling coaching, doing anything you want to do is absolutely off the charts. So I shot Dana a text the other day and I said, bro, you have got to come back on the podcast. I want to geek out with you for an hour about this software. I want to talk to you about the strategies of the Dream 100. And I want to tell everybody about this cool product that you have made that everybody can use right there on their computer desktop. And, you know, everybody tells me they love the Shane Sams show. They love this podcast because it's just so casual, because it's just me and my friends, and we're just hanging out and talking half the time. And people really feel like a fly on the wall. They feel like they're in the room at a mastermind or something like that. That's what I try to make this show. I want it to be as authentic and real as possible. And I want to bring you information that maybe you couldn't get on other people's shows who are just following a script or they don't really know who they're talking to, whatever. But this one's geeked out on another level, y'all. Me, about 20 minutes in, Dana just starts going, all right, I got to ask you some questions. And we just start going back and forth, and we're talking about features, and we're talking about Dream 100 strategies, and we're talking about things that we could do to help each other, things that other Dream 100 people can do to help each other. And there's probably more information packed into the last 45 minutes of this podcast than any other one that I've recorded. So listen, if you are looking for a strategy to build your network, if you're looking for a strategy to go out and get more influence and make more impact, if you're looking for more leads, trying to get more income, you're in the right place today. I know this one is going to be packed with value, and you're going to be able to take some things away. They're going to help you and your business too. And I say this every week, but I'm serious this time, y'all. Stop what you're doing. Pull over. Get off the treadmill. Go get yourself a notebook and a pen. Hey, pour yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a little bit of sweet tea. This is going to be a good one. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Three, 2, 1. In my Dream 100, number one in my heart, Dana Derricks.
Love it. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. We've been it's been a while since we got to sit down and talk other than just Facebook messages, but what a year, man. I've been Dream 100 like crazy, man, and I'm beating off opportunities with sticks. You know what I'm saying?
You are crippled by opportunity, huh? That's a good thing. Oh,
yeah, man. What about you?
Same story, man. Launching the software and doing all this crazy stuff, it's been insane, but it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, man. Anytime we can stretch. I found that about 2-3 years ago, I was getting a little too Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, a little too passive. It was kind of like boring, you know, like I wasn't being stretched. And then I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do this stuff and see if I can stretch myself. And the good Lord works in mysterious ways, man, because I'm being stretched like spaghetti. Like right now, you know, man.
You're back in the arena. That's awesome.
100%, man. You got to get in the arena if you're going to be challenged. So let's talk a little bit. Let's give everybody some context. I do have another episode with Dana. Would love for everybody to go check that out. I'll put a link to that back in the show notes. But go ahead and tell everybody real quick, man, just again, you know, who you are, what you do and like how you became the guy carrying the flag of the Dream 100 out there in the interwebs.
Well, thank you, man. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. Anytime I do anything with you, man. So my name's Dana, for anyone that doesn't know. And I do this thing called the Dream 100. I've been doing it my whole life. Didn't know what it was until probably about 6 years ago, when I read a chapter in a guy named Chet Holmes' book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. He talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's the word for what I've been doing. And basically, the Dream 100 is just building relationships with people, and providing value exchanges with them. So much like what Shane is doing right now, I think I met him probably through, I got to know him on the podcast episode we did previously, which is brilliant. So Shane is one of the best examples of people that Dream 100, and we'll get into some probably of that in a second. But basically, what I really like to do is create relationships with people, give them value, receive value in exchange if it makes sense, and just keep building that value exchange with them. And essentially, if you guys want to get technical, the kind of the phrase Dream 100, it was coined by Chet. And basically his strategy was he identified 100 companies that he wanted to sell advertising to, and that he knew would be his dream customer, and pursued them relentlessly for 6 months. After 2 months, nothing happened, and he thought it was like all a waste of time, but he stuck with it. And by the end, he took the company he was working for from last to first in their space by relentlessly pursuing that Dream 100 list that he had. And I've just kind of taken that concept and just gotten obsessed with it and built a entire business around it, a bunch of books and tools and now software. And so, that's what we do here, Dream 100.
Yeah. I was in a truck going to a mastermind, I guess in 2020, like during the pandemic. I think this is when I started all this. You know what I mean? And I got your book. I got the Dream 100 book, paid every dime for it. and I was listening to it, and like I've always thought about like myself as a good relationship builder, like a good networker, you know? But I felt like I was just like randomly showing up in rooms. You ever felt that way before? Like it's like that's kind of how I was networking. I was like, well, I'll buy a ticket to that live event and see what happens. And you just hope that you end up in a mastermind or something or whatever, you know. And maybe you'll buy your way into a room every once in a while, and you're like, ooh, I paid money. Maybe I can now definitely meet somebody. But that doesn't always work, right? And then when I was listening to the book, it was the intentionality of how you specifically presented the Dream 100, like how intentional you are with your list, like knowing it's not just the 100 best podcasters in your space. It's like knowing why you want to make that relationship. And also too, like, you know, it's one thing to be intentional, but that can feel a little icky, you know, like, oh, these are my targets. These are my marks. But I had the aha moment when I was listening to the way you explain it is it's one thing to be intentional, but you're not just being intentional. You have good intentions. It's like, man, I'm just going to go out and try to connect with these people. 1, to get to know them. 2, to see how I can help them. And, you know, if something comes back, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that intentionality and good intentions, I think, is the heart of the Dream 100. It's not just what can these people do for me, right? Isn't that how you kind of look at it?
I love that. I am going to borrow that and credit you, but that is one of my new favorite quotes. Be intentional with good intentions.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
dude,
if you steal it from me, you stole it twice. If you steal it from me, you stole it twice, because I'm sure I got that from somebody else. You know?
Well, I love it. It's perfect for this. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's why it worked for us so fast, because I came back to my team after that mastermind, Dana, and I was just like, we're doing this. And my assistant always like shakes her head at me about every 3 months, because she's like, you're wild and Shane Sams, you're wild and on me again. And but I was like, no, we're doing this. Like I'm going to go in and we're just going to figure out as many people as we can serve. And dude, I'm telling you, it's so random how the Dream 100 works. I have seen more doors open in the past year. Like the people I'm texting with this morning is bonkers, right? Like trying to cut deals and help each other, and like telling people what I'm going to do for them, what they're going to do for me. Just the levels that we have achieved in the last year. I'm just, we're not going to go too deep into this because I want to talk about the software, but like, it's crazy. If anybody's not doing this, bro, I don't know how they're running a business just trying to buy Facebook ads and not do this stuff, Yep.
They're running the short game. We're playing the long game. That's kind of the big difference, because when Facebook pops a new algorithm, or the next slap, we're going to be all right. We're going to actually be better off, because people will be wondering how we're doing what we're doing. So,
dude, it's like whenever I heard a friend of mine get a Facebook group shut down the other day, One, I'm like, what are you doing? Or when Facebook freaking went offline for 8 hours the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what's not offline is me emailing Dana or me sending Dana a message or that's never offline. Like you can't take down my Dream 100 network now. You can't do it.
Exactly.
Right?
And
Yeah,
if you think about it this way, like so many people are like one dimensional, right, with their business and their efforts. So let's say you get your ad account shut down, right? I've done it. I am in Facebook ad prison. I'm in Guantanamo Bay of the prison. There's no coming back for me. Guess what? Most people, that would cripple them and they wouldn't be able to get traffic and they wouldn't be able to advertise. That didn't cripple me. Why? Because I simply have built relationships with other people that still have their ads accounts. So they can run ads or they have audiences that I can still reach. So if you haven't done that, or if this Facebook shutdown break, I call it, like awesome break that we had, if that affected you, like you should be doing the Dream 100. Like not should, you have to do the Dream 100.
I thought too the other day, like we've kind of refined now that we've gotten good at it. We're a year in. You talk a lot in the book, like if one opportunity hits at a mega level, like we are in the midst of this mega level opportunity right now. Like I'm speaking on a stage in Miami in front of like 5,000 to 10,000 people in December. We're going to have 4 workshops after that. These workshops are 6-figure weekends, and we've got 20 stadium events that we're going to be speaking at next year. Right. But at the same time, beyond that, I only need if I have a Dream 100, and my Dream 100 now is like 180, but if you have a big list of the things you want to do, you only need like 12 of them, right? Like if you had 12 solid relationships come out of your efforts, and those 12 people, and you included, if you ran a promotion for those people every month, and one of those 12 ran for you once a month, holy bonkers. You don't need anything else. You got 12 people with big lists that you're supporting, and they're supporting you. And who cares what happens in the social media and all that stuff? Have you watched Chappelle's new special yet? Dave Chappelle?
Not yet.
Bro, he says he said something. He goes, man, y'all drug me on Twitter. Y'all tried to cancel me, shut me down on Twitter. And he said, I don't give an F. Twitter's not a real place. And that's how it is, man. Like those aren't real places. Those aren't real people, but your Dream 100's real.
That's
right?
Awesome. Well said. Yeah. Absolutely. Like you said, okay, Zuckerberg bans you. What is he going to stop you from calling me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is like, right. those are so
I can't solid. Like your post. I'll just call you. Right. It's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't own AT&T and Verizon yet. So, all right. So let's move forward here. Here's the thing about the Dream 100. It's not easy, right? It is simple. But it's not easy. It was very hard for us in the beginning to get our list together, to figure out how to find the gatekeepers, to call these people, to connect with these people. I had a little leverage because that we have a popular podcast, so I can at least I can offer to show you to my people, right? But it was hard gathering all the data. And then along comes Dana Derricks with the Dream 100 software. Okay, so I want to know, why did you make this thing? Where did it come from? Both from we need this and how it fits in your business model going forward. Why did you create this software to help people Dream 100?
Awesome question. So simple. The answer, it's because it's what everyone needs. Okay. So I made the mistake I started in the Dream 100, like planting my flag as the guy probably about 5 years ago. And I wrote 3 books on the subject, created a challenge on the subject, created an entire full length, 12-month program on the subject, created a live event on the subject, created a mastermind on the subject. And throughout all of that over the last 5 years, I have come to realize that while I gave tremendous tools that helped people like scripts, outreach scripts, and training on how to research and all this stuff, at the end of the day, it gave people the ability to do it better and probably faster, but it really didn't simplify things. And it really didn't make it like, oh my gosh, is this now easy? Like, in other words, what used to take hours and I was scratching my head about now takes minutes. And I can even hand that off to an assistant if I want to. That's why the software is here. And I have been, it's been years in the making. So that's where the software came from. And that's what the intention of the software is to take the complexity out of Dream 100, the ambiguity out of Dream 100, and to take the time consuming part out of Dream 100. So you can get faster results, build relationships faster, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that was what took us a lot of time, and also too, like, the me being the point person of that, right? Like what we have refined down to now is like when we get a Dream 100 opportunity, that's when I need to be deployed. Like the influencer, the entrepreneur, the author, the expert, whoever's doing the Dream 100. Like when the relationship is ready to be cemented and we find a way to help each other, anything outside of that is a waste of my time, right?
Absolutely.
So, but I was still always doing the Dream 100 reach outs, always doing the podcast invites because I had the name and my assistants didn't. But what's crazy is we'll be doing the software now for a couple weeks. My assistant Angela is literally monitoring everything on the Dream 100 for me, and it's all done through the browser and social media, and we can see what everybody's doing. So it's almost like she can say, "Hey, this is happening over here." She can filter even that for me and tell me like, hey, there was 20 posts by the Dream 100 today, but this one's really good, and I think you could contribute to that. So it's like I'm now like this like Marvel Hawkeye assassin on our Dream 100 team, where I just go in when I'm really, really needed, but I can have other people like monitor this. Like we're actually, I thought that someone would be in charge of the Dream 100. Listen to how we're using the software though. I'm putting it on my entire team's browser now because my entire team can contribute to other conversations and things, and we can connect with different people. And sometimes you figure out like who the gatekeepers are instantly just by who's liking and sharing the influencers post. So we're putting everybody on it now. And is that how you kind of envisioned people using this? Is like your assistant gets on for 10 minutes a day and you know everything that's happening with your Dream 100 like all at once? Or like am I missing something? Have I stumbled upon this correctly here?
I am sitting here blown away by that because I'm just like focused on building it and features and listening to feedback. So this is what I'm getting out of it. I don't know what I expected. I had no expectations, which is probably good. But you are absolutely playing it perfectly. And here's what it looked like the old fashioned way with what I did over the years, because I didn't have the software, which is crazy to think I still pulled some of this stuff off. So here's a quick story that literally spells out what you're doing. So I have successfully Dream 100 a guy named Russell Brunson really well, people would say. He, one of the things I've been to his house, played with his kids, like stuff people would dream to do. And one of the things he did for me in the process was he spoke at my event Dream 100 Con a couple of years back. And for context, this guy's got $100 million company. He's busy. He came to me, by the way. I didn't do the event there. He came to me. He flew from Idaho to Minneapolis for my event and was the keynote speaker. And by the way, that year he spoke at 4 events: Dream 100 Con, his Funnel Hacking Live, Tony Robbins event, and Grant Cardone's 10X event. So that's pretty big deal. And here's how it happened. I didn't build a strong one with Russell, like as strong as the relationship with Melanie, his personal assistant. I got in so well with Melanie. I saw her as a big sister almost. She is awesome. She's an amazing human. So without that, Russell doesn't come to Minneapolis. Because guess who else came? Melanie, right? His assistant. Guess who booked all of it? Melanie. Guess who gave the green light and scheduled it? Melanie, right? So the point is, Shane's doing it perfectly now with the software, and it's going to take minutes. What took me years is taking minutes because of his assistants, and they're logged in under their accounts, right? Their profiles. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
or they can log in as me too if they need to like something, like they see something important. Like they've got my logins for social too. We always want to be authentic. So when they go in and they like something, it's a reminder. They come back and say, Shane, I like this. You need to go comment on this one. This is really important. They're just helping me on the monitoring side, so I don't have to sit there forever, or even the 10-15 minutes it takes on the little, because you log into the Dream 100 software and you get to see they have notifications of everyone they've posted, and I don't have to go look at their page. It's just all right there. So they look at that, they go in, they interact, they come back and say, these 3 you really need to go check out, and then boom, I'm on the radar. You know,
I am totally 100% thinking that's the perfect way to do it, because totally outsourcing that I don't think is the right thing to do. Like I had my wife sitting right next to me. I try to do that with her, have her comment on my behalf, and she's like, Dana, this just doesn't seem right, because she doesn't sound like me. Right. And people can tell that's not authentic. So what Shane's saying is basically let them sift through all the stuff. Right. And for example, let's say that I wanted to Dream 100 Russell and I was starting over with the software. Well, You should start by Dream 100 Melanie, the assistant, right? So have your team or yourself or whatever, literally add her to the software, the Dream 100 software. She's now on your list. And then anytime she makes a post, she does anything on social, go in there and engage with it, support her, like it, comment, etc. And you're building a relationship with her in a non-creepy way, in an awesome way, because you're actually doing what she wants. She wants support. She wants attention. She wants engagement, etc. Right? So I love the way you're doing it. Really do.
Yeah. Well, and also too, what we want to do is like, here's the problem with a little bit of Dream 100 on social media. This is why I want to talk a little bit about how to incorporate. I've got 3 questions on how to that I want to ask about the software that I've got to ask, which might be, we might peel the curtain back and see a bug or two, but I've got some questions on where this is going because I know what some of your stuff you're doing. Also, like not everyone posts their own social media. Like Russell Brunson's social media is not always Russell posting the social media, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting there liking every post of 500 posts a day and everything, like that's not even really getting on anyone's radar. You know what I mean? But like when Russell replies to something and you can clearly tell he's replied to something, or like our Dream 100, like if somebody replies to something and it's like, whoa, they jumped in right there. Then my assistant can be like, hey, Russell applied on that. Dana replied on this. Go, I saw it. Go, I liked it for you, but go ahead and jump in. This is a good conversation. Now I'm actually on the radar. So it's like, that's the filter I think that the Dream 100 software has provided for us, is almost like identifying when it's really the influencer, when they're really participating, who the person actually is. Like one of the people that I've been connected with lately is Stu McLaren's old community manager. She's got a brand of her own now. Well, we connected with her through the Dream 100 strategy. Right. And now she's becoming an influencer in her own right. And now I'm getting ready to hire a community manager. She's going to help me find one. She gave me all her resources to go apply. You talk about value. I got a job description from freaking Stu McLaren's actual community manager, who is the queen of community managers, all because we Dream 100 her through. And that was just to talk to Stu more. Right. But now she's part of the Dream 100 and she's providing value to us. And I'm like, hey, we're going to, I'm going to have her back on the podcast to support her new brand. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know who even the assistants are going to be. Like, right. Man. What if you Dream 100 Larson back when he was first working as basically Russell's assistant? Yeah. Yes, right. And exactly. Now he's out there doing his own thing.
And that perfect example. And there's a ripple effect too. So you never know where someone will be a year from now, right? That's why I always say when you Dream 100, like if there's a little fish that wants your attention for whatever reason, just give them it. So when in doubt, give them the attention. If you want to be on their podcast, you get nothing out of it, but you built a relationship that a year from now, that person's huge and they're asking you to come speak at their event. It's worth it. Okay. So there's ripple effect. I'll tell you another quick example of that. I was at Russell's mastermind and I was presenting. And one of his like helpers, his tech guy, I guess, who nobody knew from, the next guy, he was running the computer stuff. And I made sure to really thank him, like to really go out of my way to get to know him, talk to him and thank him. Nobody was talking to him. He was just kind of the odd man out, everybody else is mingling. And now a couple of years later, this guy who was the tech guy, he used to sweep the floors. He is now the relationship manager or the affiliate manager at ClickFunnels. And guess what happened? Because of that relationship, ClickFunnels is now using Dream 100 software because I knew him before he became the affiliate manager. So that is going to be a massive, massive opportunity for me, right? Huge. So it all happened by just giving one of the little guys a little ripple effect by just giving them a little time. So you never know what happens.
Dude, so listen, we had to, Dream 100, you can put, we try to keep we have like an 80-20 rule with it. Like 80% of the people are like, these people are the current level that will not say no to me. Right. And then there's 20% are the people that are probably saying no to me right now because they don't know who I am. But there's 80% of them we're trying to keep like this level is where we're playing at or perceived at. And we want to make sure if we spend time reaching out like, hey, can we be on your podcast? Can we do a podcast swap? Whatever, they're going to say yes. So I did one of these and it's got a super low threshold. It's like 50 reviews. You know what I'm saying? If you have 50 reviews on the podcast, we're going to probably Dream 100 you a little bit to try to, you've got some listeners. You might have 1,000 people listening. I don't know. That's 1,000 human beings, dude. Let's go. Right. And I can probably help you because I've got tens of thousands of people listening. So I'll reach back. You help me. I'll start leaving breadcrumbs everywhere. So here's what happened. I go on a podcast that's got less than 100 reviews, not a big show, But it was a great show. It was fun. It was aligned. It was perfect. We did it in our research. I go on this podcast. This guy named Michael Pink, who is an author in the Christian business space, hears me. He hears me on this podcast, and he's like, wow, this guy, wow, he helps people do what? Sell memberships, 100 people, give you $50 a month. I can make 60 grand a year. Who is this guy? He goes to my website. He signs up for my webinar. Okay. Comes to my webinar, writes in, is like, that's the best webinar I've ever seen. Awesome stuff. Good webinar. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't think anything of it. I get a call later from this guy named Joe Johnson. This is the guy that owns the big company that we're signed with now. I used to own Success Magazine, right?
Wow.
Like this is a baller, straight baller. Had an Inc. 500 fastest growing real estate brokerage in Inc. 500 history. Okay. Michael Pink worked for him. He trained his sales staff. So him and Michael Pink are sitting around smoking a cigar one night or whatever. And he's like, man, I want something different. I'm starting this live event company, and everybody's got real estate. Everybody's got stock. Robert Kiyosaki does all that nonsense. I want something different. Michael Pink goes, man, I just went to this webinar the other night, heard this guy on a podcast. He's different. It's online business. He's doing it it's cool. You got to check this out. And now we end up partners. And now we're going to go on a 20-city world tour, freaking doing seminars. And we're like, our goals are like $1 million a month. And it's not because I Dream 100 Joe Johnson. I Dream 100 this podcaster with 50 reviews.
Yeah. Who seemed like it wasn't going to.
Yeah. It's like, whatever. Like that. Yeah. That guy might grow and whatever. And I love to help him, and he loves to help me, and we're all helping each other. And like, all of a sudden, I'm sitting here planning a live event in Miami, Florida on December 2nd, right? So you just,
oh man,
it's that crazy, man. Like that ripple effect is where a lot of the opportunities come from. But everybody, I think when people hear Dream 100, they're like, well, me and Tony Robbins are going to be eating breakfast together. Maybe, right? But like, there's a lot, like you can get one person with 1 million, or you can get 10 people with 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
Right. Or you can get 100 people with 1,000 followers, right? Like you can go down the chain. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, man.
Definitely. Yeah. And it really is a cumulative effect. It's a snowball effect. So the more you do it, and I like where you're at with 80-20, because, and I call it A, B's, and C's. A's are the Tony Robbins that if you do land them in the future, it's worth a crap load. B's are, the people that are under Tony, but worth a lot, but it'll be a lot faster. And then C's are almost a guaranteed win, right? Or a guaranteed yes, but you don't know how big the win is. But I like the thought of getting a lot of wins and keeping your 80% just win. Yeah, exactly.
Run the football.
Yeah.
4 yards, you cannot lose. If you get 4 yards of play, you can't lose, man. You're gonna run the score up, dude. So, all right. So the software itself is a Chrome browser plugin, right?
Yes.
And like what it looks like, just for a real quick overview, is you log this into your browser. It's kind of always on, and you add people to it, and it monitors their social media networks. It monitors like all their content. It gives you quick access to them. Like one thing we're doing right now too is having a daily list for we're kind of like, as it bulks up and we're getting more people in there. It's like, well, these 10 are our targets today, but then we look at what everybody else is doing, right? So we want to be intentional and not.
Love it.
But maybe they don't post. We want to make sure and go do something send them a message, do something else. What do you think are the key features of the software? Like what were like the three things, because there's a lot of stuff going on in there. You're adding stuff all the time. Like, what do you think, like the three things everybody should be doing with it? This is what I put it in there. I had to have this for me and my software in Dream 100. Like, what do you think the big features are?
So starting with, it organizes everything. So you can ditch your spreadsheet. Like a spreadsheet was so rudimentary compared to this. And when you get inside and you see it functioning, you'll agree like, wow, this is way better. So organization, just keeping everything right there is number one. Number two, and there's tagging features and all sorts of stuff too that helps you organize even more. And then number two, I would say, is the research piece. So it's very tedious a lot of times to manually look up people's information. The software actually, when you add someone into it, it scrapes their social profile and it'll find their email, phone number, and physical address if it's linked to their social, which I don't know what your success rate is on that. I've seen maybe about probably 40% it'll find.
Yeah, pretty decent, and sometimes it'll give you like we did one. Who did we do the other day? We did one and it was a weird email, but we found out it was the assistant's email.
Nice.
that it's set up. So I was like, that's incredible. We've got direct access to the assistant.
That might be
right?
more valuable. Honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's been
Probably.
pretty interesting. It's been a hit and miss on some of them, but
Sure.
we've got it,
So with research, and then by the way, if it doesn't automatically scrape it, you can just save it in there like a CRM. If you do, when you do find it. So I'd say the research component. Then the third one is probably, man, it's there's so many, but the third one I would put is the intention. You can type in your dream outcome, right? Because it's like, all right, I put Tony on my list. Well, what does that mean? What are you trying to do with Tony? Okay, let's actually get specific about what we want to do with Tony Robbins. Okay, so that your dream outcome, you type right in the software for Tony under his profile. You'll say, I want to speak at one of his events. Okay, that's your goal, your dream outcome. All right, and then right below it, to take the ambiguity out of it, well, how do you accomplish that? Okay, well, here, then you put in literally a checklist of the steps that you have to take in order to get your dream outcome. So in order to speak at Tony's event, I need to do this, then this, then this, then this. So I add all those items and then I just check them off as I go. So maybe it starts with find his assistant's email. Then it goes to engage with his social posts for 6 weeks. And then it goes, the next step and the next step. You just check it off as you go. So you're basically forcing yourself to get that dream outcome, right? Or at least put yourself in the best position possible to get the dream outcome. So I'd say the third piece is just almost guaranteeing your success. Dream hunting. If you're intentional about your dream outcome, and then you follow the steps, you create and follow those steps to get it.
And then your team also knows that goal too. Like a lot of people, like our team didn't get the Dream 100 when I told them. They're like, okay, you're connecting with a lot of people that we perceive as like famous or influencers. Like, why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing? And I had trouble in the beginning conveying the vision, right, at a high level, because you don't have time to sit there and go through every single person. But now when Angela or somebody logs in, they can actually see the outcome. And we've actually systemized this too. Like our dream outcome 99% of the time is for me to be featured on their platform. So if they are a podcaster, it's me being a guest on their podcast. If it's a YouTuber, it's me being with them on their YouTube channel. It's if they have an event, it might be me speaking on their stage. Like, for example, hope you're listening, Jared. But I got a really good friend, Jared Easley, founder of Podcast Movement, just a great human being, a great dude. And I was like, hey, I've never done this, but now that I'm Dream 100ing, I don't really need to Dream 100 Jared because Jared's my friend. But at the same time, I want to Dream 100 Podcast Movement. I want to speak at Podcast Movement, right? So we started listing steps to speak at Podcast Movement, right? Like, how would we do that? Well, participating in their community and their group, doing virtual events for them. I did one of their virtual events during the pandemic, and like just building up. It wasn't enough. Like, could I have just went to Jared? Yes, but like, I wanted to Dream 100 the organization and prove my worth to them first. And so I just spoke at Podcast Movement like a few weeks ago, right? So it's just like the outcome, knowing the software forcing everyone to know what you're trying to accomplish is really, really important, because you can Dream 100 and you may end up eating dinner with Russell Brunson at ClickFunnels headquarters and not make a dime of it, not get any followers out of it. That was cool. But like, how's that moving the needle? Not just for you, but for your movement and for your Dream 100 person that you're trying to help. Like, fine, y'all had a stake. I mean, what does that really do? And besides give you a picture for social media, you gotta have a plan,
Absolutely. And it takes like you said, just kind of the showing up to show up and see what happens. Just you're less playing defense. Now you're playing offense, right? Or you're kind of being proactive instead of reactive. Right. So if let's say you want to go to, you want to do something with Tony Robbins, you want to speak at his event. Well, one of your items should probably be to go to Tony's event and then, get to know the event and all this stuff. So now, instead of just going to Tony's event to go there, because Tony's cool and you want to Dream 100 him for some reason, now you can go and you can take notes on the event, see who did really well. Write down the speakers, try to find them and ask them, how did you speak? I'm just, curious. How did you get invited to speak? Right. And like all of a sudden, oh crap, going to Tony's event, there's a clear ROI now. There's a clear intention on what I'm trying to get out of here. And it's not in a, with good intentions. If you stay there, it's always going to be well received because you're doing it from a place of value.
When we really hyper target that somebody, right? Like, target sounds like a bad word, but when we know someone that we really want to put some time into building the relationship, one of our things on our list is eventually it's have them on my podcast, because that's always good. I'll introduce you to tens of thousands of people. Let's go. And then the other thing is become a customer. Like, we're going to buy something from the people on our Dream 100 list. Like, I don't know if a lot of people are doing that, but like, we're going to buy, like, and it's going to be something useful. A lot of times I'll buy something. We're Dream 100ing a YouTube influencer right now. Right. And I bought her training for like being a YouTube influencer. But I bought that training and I just gave it to the person who's in charge of YouTube for me. So it's like, if I never Dream 100, if I never get to meet her, I never get to do anything with her, never get to talk to her at all. You know what? I spread the love, gave her some money. I became a customer. Also, then once you become a customer, go use it and write them a review or shoot them a testimonial. Absolutely. Because that's so valuable to people. It's so easy to give. And if you really like the product, like, we loved her course. It's the literal backbone of what we're doing on YouTube now going forward. So shoot a review. Hey, this is Shane Sams from Flip Lifestyle, man. I love this product. Oh my gosh, you got to use it. Send that to them. People, I don't care how big you get, man. You see your good testimonials, and you know who your customers are, right? So it's Absolutely. Like, that's a great way to get in the door. Let me ask you this. Right now, it's all the social media networks and stuff are in there. And I think I asked you this on a text the other day, but like, are your goals, like right now it's really Facebook dependent, because Facebook has all the data, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can see, like, I love where you can go in and check immediately what their favorite shows are, what their favorite likes are, all that stuff. And you can really interact with them good on Facebook, seeing their replies. That's been ridiculous. I don't think we've posted anything but to the replies. But like, what are the plans for like LinkedIn, Twitter, and seeing those in the feed? Is that possible that we're going to eventually get to see that? Because, man, some people are active on Twitter. Some people are active on YouTube. Like, what does that look like inside the software?
Yeah. So the plan is for all of them to be in eventually. So this is my first kind of stab at software. I'm not a software guy. I'm not a tech guy. I don't program. I'm a farmer. So I've learned a lot so far. And one thing that I've learned is some networks are friendlier with their APIs than others, if that makes sense. So to translate that means some like Facebook was pretty easy for us to kind of link into and add to the software. Instagram's being done right now as we speak, and that wasn't as easy. LinkedIn is like at the forefront of what we want to add into the mix, because a lot of people are on LinkedIn in the business space at least, and they don't have an open API for that. So they basically said no to us. So we have to go to plan B, which is going to be really expensive, but it's okay because it's worth it. So long-winded way of saying, yep, they're all going to be added in there at some point, and they'll be filterable. They already are. There's YouTube and Facebook right now, so you could filter between the two. But everything will be in there, and eventually be able to filter it, and it'll be really, really awesome.
Yeah. So another thing I love about being a beta in somebody's product is you get to see things and ask questions, and all of a sudden someone goes, "That's a good idea. Let's put that in there." And then you look out and there's a feature, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty legit. Like, have you ever thought about this too? I thought about this the other day, and I don't know if this has even crossed your all's mind, but you could totally do this. And I don't know how it works, but like, you know how the other day we were looking up, we had Dean Graziosi, right? Well, I've had Dean on the podcast, so we've connected, right? And I did it the same way. Like, I know his gatekeepers, I know his contacts, I know his things. So like, when we put Dean's stuff in to the Dream 100, like, it wasn't populated, like the phone number or whatever, right?
Yep.
But we do have a contact number. Like, I've got a contact number. I sent Dean a present, so I got his address, like all that stuff, right? Have you ever thought about like letting it populate across the network of people who are using the Dream 100 softwares, to where like, if I find Dean's stuff, that could populate in your Dream 100 software, like, or like even like a ClickFunnels model where like I could at least like something, like you reach out to me and you're like, "Oh, Shane, man, you interviewed Dean. Like, how'd you do that?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me go click a button. What's your username in the Dream 100 software?" And I can, boom, there's all of the stuff I found on like Dean's stuff, and I could just hand it over to you. Have you guys thought about doing something like that in the software?
Yeah, that's definitely something that
that would be baller.
We're trying to figure out. Yeah, I think I need to have a conversation with my buddy who is my attorney to figure out what has to happen in order for that to be done appropriately or correctly. But
for
I
sure,
totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally see the value in that. And this is kind of a funny story I've never told before. So I'm gonna get in so much trouble because I'm saying stuff I shouldn't. So
if we put this out and we all start getting sued, I'll go re-edit it and what are you talking about? It never happened.
So one time, so this is kind of like the bigger picture, like sitting in the driver's seat. This is kind of the cool stuff you get to think about. So one time we were on ClickFunnels, using ClickFunnels, we're inside of our account, and I don't know how, but it like unlocked what I call God mode, where it's like, I think what Russell's able to see. So basically, when we looked at any of our customers, we not only could see the products that they bought from us, we could see the products they bought from every single ClickFunnels like funnel. So we could see everything they've bought, like everything. So I'm thinking of that, and it only lasted for like 2 hours. We were going crazy. We were like hoping like it would never go away, but it did. It was a glitch. But the point is me sitting in the driver's seat of like what would Shane do? I want to pick your brain. Like everyone all the users of Dream100 software, like they're throwing all this data in and they're harvesting data for me, or for the whole everybody.
Community. Right. Exactly.
So what's the best way to leverage that to make it more valuable for everybody? Right. So let's say that Shane, like inputs Dean Graziosi's contact info. Well, the next guy that adds Dean to their Dream100 software, boom, what Shane added is now in the next guy's, right? So I'm interested. I know you're a big thinker. So what is your gut reaction on that type of idea?
No, I know the idea. It's all right. Ideas always start out with yes, right? Like this is like because that's what's interesting is like you've got this pooled people of Dream100 people who are doing this strategy with good intentions and great intentionality. Like ain't nobody gonna hide, right? Like you're gonna find all this information on anybody, right? Because it's all out there on the internet anyway. It's just a matter of where did it come from. Like some people might just have Dean's phone number and they call him and they're like, "Oh man, I know Dean." And Dean, can I put this in the Dream100? Sure, man. I'd love for people to call Dean. He's a connector. He don't know, maybe it's his assistant's phone number, his office. So I think it would be amazing. I just don't know. I don't know what the permissions or legalities. I mean, if you called me and you were like, "Hey, what's that guy's name that you connected with Dean Graziosi?" And we're like, of course I'm going to tell you because I know you and you're wanting to connect with him. So like, it's not like it's secret or anything, but I mean, it's probably there's some kind of legal thing, but like that would be legit, man. And like also too, it was what if it was just public information, like their office address that's publicly at the bottom of everyone has an address at the bottom of their emails, right? Mm-hmm. Like what if it's just that? They have to. It's illegal. So like mine's Post Office Box 58, Corbin, Kentucky. You can go sign up for my email list and look at it. Maybe it's just public stuff.
What if it's I agree there. That seems right. And then what if there's a platinum version that is expensive, but you do get to share that stuff, or you do get access to that, more private information. And there are like certain extra terms that you have to agree to, et cetera. Because they're already doing it. These guys are getting together, the high level people, they're getting together, sharing people, introing people, So it's really
that is how the game is played, man. That's how the game is played, right? I like the higher level too, and like what you could do. I wonder if there's like a way to tag it where you have a threshold of like maybe there needs to be a ranking system that's uniform above Dream100. Like so, if I go in, I can see that like someone is like a 7 out of 10 on difficulty to get a hold of or whatever, or something like kind of influencer. And then if like they're above that, like maybe you even have like a team member that reaches out to them and says, "Hey, we'd love to put you in here. There's a lot of people with a lot of good opportunities for you. Would you like to be in here?" or something. So you could even make it permission based, like from the person. Like, and why would you not want your name in there? You've got hundreds of entrepreneurs trying to help you grow. Like that's what the Dream100 software is for.
Exactly.
Why would you not want to be in there?
People are going to be banging at your door to give you value.
I know, right?
So here's another thought I had, and I haven't discussed this with very many people because they don't, not many people I interact with vibe like you do. So I am enjoying myself here, if I may. So check this
podcast was designed to geek out. I just tell you, that's what it was designed for. Okay. So I can hang out with Dana for an hour and geek out. That's why we're here. So.
I'm getting in the weeds. Let's go. All right. I've got permission. So check this out. So one thing I haven't really totally thought about in terms of the value of this is, so who's probably who would you think is probably the most Dream100 person by the software uses? Like, who would you guess?
Like right now?
Yeah.
I'd say Russell, probably Russell Brunson. That's
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would, and then I would not, I mean, just kind of by default, I'd put myself in the top 3 probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So and I don't, not to say that I should be or deserve it. It's just kind of because it's mine. So check this out. This is what happens. My social media, like my Facebook, the engagement on it has gone so crazy because everybody's got me in the Dream 100 software, and so they're all seeing my stuff, engaging on my stuff. So I have gone bam like that, and it's all because of the Dream 100 software, like 100%. So my thought is, and where I'm tagging you back in is, what if people that were in that exclusive level or even sell spots, what if when someone installed the Dream 100 software, came preloaded with several individuals that, are already in the software, that people can Dream 100, because not only will they get more opportunities coming to them, but their social media will get a huge engagement lift by being Dream 100 by the
you could almost charge for that.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. You could have like you wouldn't call it promoted, but you call it like featured Dream 100 people. Yep. And if you can get those people too who are like responsive, right? Like those are the people like that are really good. Like the people that do say yes to podcasts, like the people that do say things. Now it's not just they're paying to be at the top and get all the engagement. Like they're kind of that Dream 100 mentality too. Like, oh yeah, like if you come in here and these, like for example, I was telling you about Travis Chappell and Guestio, like JLD, man, John's you can go to Guestio.com right now and you can interview John for $150. Anybody, like you can just go sign up for it because he's a founder. He's in there. It's a low price. Like imagine if John was paying to be a Dream 100 featured person, and then he's like, hey, go here, I'll be on your podcast for $150. Boom, you got John Lee Dumas on your podcast.
Oh man, so
you know what I'm saying? It's cyclical.
Do you ever get that? I love this. I'm getting so much value from this conversation.
That's why I think everyone who listens to this in a couple weeks is also going to be like freaking out about this thing right now.
That's awesome. So. Okay, so can I take us down one more step of the rabbit hole?
I am a professional rabbit hole climber, so
love it. Yes. By the way, your guys have a big game this weekend. I saw.
Oh yeah.
Who do you have again?
We got LSU. If we beat Florida last week, Kentucky beat Florida last week. Got LSU this week. If we win, we go into Athens 6-0 to play Georgia.
Let's go. I think you guys are 3-point favorites, right?
Yeah, we're favorites. Yeah, and LSU just lost their big stud corner. So, but we got a couple people down too. We're Kentucky. We'll screw it. We can find a way to screw it up. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be on watching with bated breath on every play, my friend. So,
good luck. Go ahead. Well, I do have money on Kentucky, so I hope I don't jinx you. All right. I thought about you. All right. So check this out. What if this is really what the Dream 100 software is? So all the users and then my team and anybody, whatever, we're all building this giant database, right? And then we're tagging people. So JLD, he'd be a podcaster. And then there's ratings, right? Yeah. So instead of us having, like your team having to go and physically, search them on Facebook or wherever, throw them, like add them to the software. Instead, in the software, you just you can click and you can find say podcasts or podcasters. And then bam, it loads all these podcasters. They're ranked, their sponsors are on the top, whatever. And then you just click a button and you add the ones that you want.
Yeah,
and that's what the software is.
That solves another problem too, because the first question that we had was, well, who would go on our Dream 100, right? Mm-hmm. But my business model is I'm a podcaster who builds an email list and sells memberships. That's my business model. So I don't mind being on other platforms, but YouTubers watch YouTube and I don't do a lot on YouTube, right? Yep. I got to build that out. But if I could just go in and be like, show me the top, and also that could rank it in the back end. Maybe 100 people in the Dream 100 community that you've built have added John Lee Dumas. And maybe that's the most person being Dream 100 by that community. Sure. He goes to the top of the list. Sure. So now I know who these top 100 people are. I can click one guy might be a podcast about cooking bread or something. I don't want to go him. I'll go to the business people. I can filter it from a tag after I sort all the podcasts. Right?
And you can see how competitive it is too. Who you're up against.
And you could, how Yelp and Uber, you rank your drivers at the end of your rides and stuff, sure. Right? Mm-hmm. People could rank how accessible the Dream 100 people are. So now I'm if someone's a, half star out of 5 of getting back to you, why would I waste effort? So we could actually start even ranking that. How do we, now you're just wow, super responsive. Go here. I've got $150 and I can interview him. Let's go. Like I figured it out, right? And
Love
you just
it.
get your shortcuts into the door.
And
man.
for 100%. And then for like a person like JLD, his profile, what he would do is just, he'd set it up and then he'd put his assistant's information, his assistant's email in the field. And then they would just be inbound fielding requests. And it would be like, wow, I'm getting free leads. This is amazing. Or cheap leads.
Yep. Everything is in that. So now you've got this little infinity of up and coming Dream 100 users that circle down and look for people who are interacting with up and coming Dream 100 people who accept Dream 100 requests. Then you go up to the other side on the infinity to the ballers who are putting their name in the system and they're vetting and going through here. Then it goes down and back the other side. It just keeps looping back and forth.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of synergy in that kind of system.
And if you think about this too, let's say that somebody wants to have Russell speak at their event. If I go into, I'm on Russell's profile, leave him a review and I say 5 out of 5 stars, he spoke at Dream 100 Con, and this is kind of how I did it. That review, being able to read how I was able to do that is worth so much in terms of time and money for somebody to just kind of replicate what I did.
You could, the little checklist that you make where you bucket it out, that could be your version of a ClickFunnels template. Like if I got somebody like say I go into the Facebook group and I'm like, hey, I got Brendan Burchard to come on my podcast. Here's this file. Here's the templates.
That's what the steps you took.
I got a better one. Hey, Dana, I got Brendan Burchard. I see that you got, I don't know, pick somebody. Roland Frazier.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Let's trade.
Let's trade. So now it's like, hey, I got on Brendan Burchard's podcast. Here's mine. You got on Roland Frazier's thing. You click your button. I click my button. And then the system waits 30 seconds to make sure nobody didn't click. And then whoop, we escrow it. Like it's like an escrow for trading your Dream 100 strategy for specific people.
Oh my goodness. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Speaking of that, I wanted to make sure you saw this feature. And I got to get with your assistant to make sure everything is, go through everything. But
Angela told me to tell you that. She said, I got some suggestions, right?
I got to get with her. So with the action items checklist, did you know that we added a feature where you can because you said about 80% of the people you're Dream 100ing, it's just to get them on the podcast, right?
Or to get me on theirs. Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
sorry, exactly. To get you on theirs. And I'm guessing the steps to make that happen are pretty much the same or very similar. Okay. So did you know you could preload and save a checklist and then just apply it to multiple people?
Oh, no, I did not know that.
You're going to love that. Okay.
I did see where you put the email from the system though. That's baller.
You did?
Like the Gmail.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, because once we know the email, that's when we take our shot. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And instead of emailing a whole list of Dream 100 all the time, we can be more targeted that way. Like we don't have to just send out a bulk campaign anymore. Like once we are at a point where we're ready to reach out, like we already know what to say, right? So it's so much more personalized when you can
I ask you?
I'm
sorry, I'm totally monopolizing this.
Geeking out. We're geeking out. The reason I called you is I was like, Dana, we have to geek out about this to tell everybody about what's going on over here because there's too much opportunity happening, man. We got to tell the audience.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, how is an hour gone by? So with that, the next evolution of that is a script, right? So I want to because you're using a script, obviously you'll probably customize it, but where does it make sense for the script to fit? Because you click the button and it opens a new Gmail window with a new email composition, or you click the DM and it does the same thing for Facebook message. Where and how does the script fit in, do you think?
I think in the trading, because if I trade with you, I'm going to give you my script. I don't know if you could generalize it enough to just be like, click a button and a script pops up. I don't know if that's good enough for a Dream 100 reach out. But if I was like, hey, I got Brendan Burchard on my show and he was on his, and we trade a script for something, then when you get that script, maybe it's already loaded because my email got written or something like that. Or maybe we can drop the script in there somewhere and we could just trade it. Or now for me, saving it for myself, man, it would be awesome if you could click that Gmail button and somehow it would populate
there has to be a way
like that.
And I'm thinking, have you ever used Zendesk or anything like that?
Yeah. They have the macros.
So there's got to be a way, maybe a drop down where your saved scripts are, and then you click the one you want, and then when you click the button, that script automatically gets loaded in. I bet there's
worst case scenario, you could probably just, and this is copy paste, but it's copy paste. You could also add a field where you keep your scripts down at the bottom. Maybe you could. So maybe you could click it before you click the Gmail button. You look at your scripts, it pops it up, and there's your emails, your scripts.
and
you copy that, then hit the button.
Yeah,
then the Gmail opens and you paste it in. That's at least a stopgap to get you till you figure out how to do it automatically.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Love it.
Yeah, man. All right, dude. All right, got one more question here, and we'll wrap this up. As you're going in, like, what is your dream for the Dream 100? Like, what is your dream for the software? Like, what is the mission, behind it? Like, what do you want this to become for people out there? Because you don't go tens of thousands of dollars deep into a software program without having some kind of plan for it, right? And I mean, of course it's so Dana can grow everything out too, and we want you to be successful, and that's abundance. But like what's your mission for the Dream 100?
I appreciate that. And I am pretty deep in it, everybody. Like, in case you're wondering, it's not cheap. Deep. And then you have conversations like this, and then the bill gets higher because the feature list grows. So
sorry, man, I cost you some money today. My bad.
That's all good. Yeah. So the bigger picture, the bigger dream. I mean, short term, it's get everybody to buy into this, because like you have, I can't tell you how grateful I am to see your posts where you say, "Oh man, this software is working awesome." Like, I wondered for a while, is this worth it? And then I see that, and it's like, yes. So the short term is just get everybody to buy in and to use it. It'll change their life. It's like kind of like the first time you went from 1 monitor to 2 monitor setup. And it's like, I can never go back to 1 monitor. Like, this is amazing. It's like that. But the longer term, big picture, just get as many people on it to change their life with the Dream 100, however that looks, whether they use the software or they just read my book or listen to a podcast episode or whatever it is. Just know the Dream 100 and then get intentional about using it. I think someday, like from a business standpoint, it'd be really cool for, a company to scoop up my software and let me be a part of it. So I don't have to, be the guy that runs everything and is in charge of the tech and like back and forths and like managing. It's not my thing. But I would love to be just kind of the fearless leader of the movement of the Dream 100. So that's kind of where I'm steering the ship.
Well, I am on the boat. I am rowing the boat, baby. And, everybody's going to be like, man, why did you geek out so much on this podcast? And I'll be like, dude, I literally we were using this thing last week, and I sent you a text and I was like, dude, you got to come over here. Like, you got to come back on the podcast and tell people about this, because it really is super innovative. And I love being in the beginning of things. Like, I love it. And I know that this thing is going to be like super useful, like for a long time. And I just think it's making us have better friends and relationships, like already with other people. Like, we're putting the people we already have Dream 100 in it, so that we can keep up that relationship, nurture, and we can protect that. So it's not just finding new people. And it's really, really cool. So tell everybody a little bit about where they can learn more about the Dream 100 software and where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah. So if you're curious about the Dream 100 software, you can go grab an account. I try to make it as affordable as possible. It's $197 a month. And for what it does, I mean, that's a steal. Head over to joindream100.com. That's joindream100.com. Grab yourself, browse it, look it up, do what you want. And if you want to know more about the Dream 100 concept and, get your feet more wet on that, read the book, etc. I've got a website set up for you with free information and resources and all sorts of cool stuff at d100.com. That's the letter d100.com.
All right, y'all. That wraps up my interview with Dana Derricks of d100.com. I love that dude, man. He's a great guy. He's a great guy, man. We have a lot of fun every time we talk. And I warned y'all going in, that one was going to be a good one. We were going to geek out a little bit. And man, if I didn't have somewhere to go right now, we would have probably talked for another hour and a half. Again, forget the software, forget everything else. Listen, the Dream 100 has been the strategy we've been using to grow our business over the last year. It's opened so many doors, created so much opportunity, and it's something that everybody can do. Everybody can start with their Dream 100. Everybody can start with who you can reach out with that probably will say yes, and you can start moving up that ladder of success. You can start surrounding yourselves with great people. I know that's like the number one thing as entrepreneurs, experts, and authors that we all have to do. We gotta be the average of the 5 people we hang out the most, but we got to put the work in to get those people around us, to get those connections made. And, this is the best strategy I've found to do it. So check out everything Dana's got going on. Hey, don't be afraid to dream 100 me. If you want to connect with me, you can shoot me an email over at shane@fliplifestyle.com. Hey, hit me up over on Twitter. I'm hanging out on Twitter. I started a brand new, fresh Twitter account the other day. It's at Shane_Sams, at Shane_Sams. I share a lot of my just random thoughts about entrepreneurship, philosophy, parenting, marriage, all that stuff over there. So if you want to reach out to me, I check that Twitter account. You can connect with me over at Shane_Sams. Hey, and if you'd like to become an online entrepreneur, if you'd like to build more influence, impact, and income in your life, I've got a ton of resources to help you out over at ShaneSams.com. Also, if you love this podcast, man, do me a favor. Go over to Apple Podcasts, leave me a 5-star review. Make sure you type in the text box. I love to read all those reviews. If you're listening on Spotify or another platform, leave me a review there. Follow me there. And hey, why not give this episode a share on your social media network of choice? Or hey, tell a friend. Say, hey, give me your phone. I'm going to subscribe you to the Shane Sams podcast. You got to listen to this redneck from Kentucky, man. He's hilarious. Do a little guerrilla marketing for your boy. ShaneSams.com, baby. That's all the time I got for this week, guys. Appreciate you so much for listening. Had a lot of fun today. Have a lot of fun every single week. That's what it's all about. Until next time, stop sitting still. Get up and go. Chase your dreams. Roll up your sleeves. Open your wallet. Do the work. Be consistent. Be prolific. Be relentless. Pick up your stone. Cast it out upon the waters. Cause many ripples. I'll see you then.